into my world. Oh god, that sounds like Jeopardy. But thank you for seeing this stream with me today, and I hope you have a nice day. And thank you for dazing the day away with just days, animations, games, and songs. So to get to it, I kind of wanted to do a brief overall guide of like gacha games and
Even nowhere I can find you out. The answer is not far off now.
Another one is that Genshin Impact MiHoYo Voice has another game called Honkai Star Rail, which is also really interesting, and I actually kind of like the character designs better and the story a little better because it's more turn-based combat, so it goes much quicker. You can auto-play it, which means it's much easier to grind, because when it comes down to it, all these games depend on your relics or your artifacts, or your echoes, which are all boiled down to, they are like your equipment, basically, and they give you defense, attack, speed, in Honkai's case, which is important because that determines turn order, which is weird because it doesn't really happen in the other ones because there's a more open world games and already hopefully fast. In Genshin's case, you can glide, and same in WuWa, but the movement is a little faster there, which is amazing because you can just jump over things. Other thing coming down to it is story. Like, story is actually a big thing because, let's see, I think all of them have really good stories. I feel like I haven't been paying as much attention to other ways because there's just so much new. And thanks for seeing me stream again. And getting into it, let's see, Honkai Star Rail is a really good game in that Genshin also made this. And I really like the story, the plotline, the characters, and they have very great animations, as you can see here. And the songs are pretty awesome. I've also sang. So here we go. Hi guys, so this is Peridian's tier list. This is usually your go-to for Honkai Star Rail. And WuWa, I guess, I don't think Genshin has been added to it yet, though. But basically, as you get further into the game, this might be more of a guide, I guess, for people like struggling with it, because I've been hearing that a lot. And somehow I'm doing good, though. Granted, I'm a bit of a dolphin, meaning I pay, because all these in this case, Honkai Star Rail, since the turn-based game, has two different modes, and basically it boils down to Memory of Chaos, where your goal is to survive, to get to the boss to kill it. Luckily, I think they're revamping it, so once you defeat, you can just go straight to killing the boss, because it is a bit of a grind just going through it. But you get points, and then you get rewards from that, which is good. And then another system they have now is Pure Fiction. Now, Pure Fiction is different in that it's like wave upon wave of enemies, and your goal is just to kill as many as possible. So for that, you probably want more of a team build. Like, this is where Erudition started being useful, because they kill multiple characters at once, but in the beginning, for some reason, it wasn't as powerful as, say, Destruction, because Destruction could kill 3 characters at once, let's say, in one move. So that would, like, account for, like, I don't know if you had, like, 5 that Erudition could do, but they wouldn't usually kill them, they do, like, a smaller amount of damage. However, now, in Pure Fiction, the enemies are generally weaker, so that Erudition can usually kill most of them. That being this mark right here. And for Pure Fiction, they're usually pretty good. And I guess let's just see over here for Pure Fiction, because it's very different from the normal game mode, in that actually what's kind of cool is because you usually will get this character, Hersha, free, and you will be able to get her up to the full Eidolons, which usually helps a lot of people clear it through doing Simulated Universe and other stuff, so that's highly recommended for Pure Fiction. Others are Black Swan, who does a continuous wind damage, and a lot of Nihility characters, that is, are characters that do debuffs. She's a Nihility, as you see the eye symbol there. Going through it more, other characters useful to have is, I guess, Robin, I guess, because she's physical, but she's Harmony, and that's kind of like what the elements are in this case. And certain things have weakness, so they have a break effect, kind of like if you've ever played an Octopath Traveler, which was really fun and satisfying to break. And lately, comps have been focused on break effect lately. It used to be before that it started being Nihility-based characters, and then before that was destruction characters, and they're all still very good, but there's different ways to play this game, and it really depends on how you want to do it, and especially, it really just depends on, again, in this case, you're in Pure Fiction, so your goal is kill as many as possible, so you just need to, like, buff them more. You can choose to buff them with Harmony if you decide not to debuff them with Nihility. The thing is, I guess, why Nihility is liked so much is because you can always reduce a character's defenses, but it's much harder to always like have buffs, I guess, sometimes on all the characters, unless that one character gives that buff to everyone. Yeah, and another thing is really useful is you always want a healer or a shielder, and right now Aventurine is probably the best one because he products a shield, and that shield, it's nice because it kind of gives you another extra health bar, and when you're hit, in his case, like once it's depleted a bit, he gains stacks so that he can then attack. Another thing actually that's getting popular in Honkai Star Rail is follow-up attacks, so that once you gain stacks of something either by being hit or maybe hitting, depending on the character, in this case Venturin is when he gets hit, is if he gets hit enough times, he will do a follow-up attack on all the characters and rain these gold casino coins on them all, which is kind of cool. And so far he's actually really good in that he's good for, I think, for both, because for some reason Simulated Universe skews very much, or is it the Swarm? There's two other things, Swarm and Golden Gears, which I haven't even gone into. But those are pretty much kind of the same as Memory of Chaos, I would say, in that you want to survive until the end in order to beat a boss. Except you have a bunch of smaller bosses on the way. And going on to that, actually, smaller bosses on the way, a character really liked is Acheron. Now, some people say she wasn't that good, but I think she's worth it for the skill that she provides, which is she can auto-kill enemies, which makes Simulated Universe much faster. Granted, we're hoping the Simulated Universe doesn't actually, like, I think it's gonna switch to, like, skipping to the bosses now, which will make it much easier to just get it cleared. And maybe also no needing to have her as much, but I think you'll still need her in Swarm and Golden Gears, because you still have the issue of you have to beat a bunch of smaller bosses and smaller enemies that you can just auto-kill until you meet the big baddie boss. And she's actually a great DPS for that, because her ultimate can ignore, like, weaknesses, so that she can break any weakness, and I guess that makes sense, because she is an emanator of Nihility, meaning that she's basically has that power boost, she has the favor of the Nihility god, because these are based off of having certain gods, you could say. Other people are good. Himiko is good in Pure Fiction, but I don't mean really Pure Fiction, I hate to say that, but because she does, the problem with Air Edition is that you do a lot of damage, but you only do it on wide scale but small event. And then Kafka's really great because she's very unique in that she's a specialist in that when other people apply debuffs, she can, like, burst those debuffs, you could say. And so if they already are, like, burned, for example, she applies her skill, and in addition to doing lightning damage, it applies that, like, burned effect to happen too, so that they take extra damage, which is why she's very much liked, especially for, like, casual players, because if you build around Kafka, you can use a lot of lower level characters, like 4-star ones, because they apply a lot of debuffs, and then you can just burst them with her. So she or Acheron is usually a character you might want to have on your team. Depending on your team, though, you can also like make other things work too. It just depends. What's really interesting in Harmony characters is the ability to increase your speed so your turnover goes faster, and Sparkle is one of these. She also is very unique in that she gives another skill point, so you can use skill multiple more times, and also increases the max amount, which is amazing, which means she'll always probably be very valuable because of that, because no one else does that. And the interesting is that Honkai Star Rail gives these characters very unique skills that others don't have, which makes it more interesting and strategic to play, but also I guess a little harder too. And also with the fact that each character feels more broken than the rest, it can be sometimes hard to keep up with. Fushan right now is a very good shielder. I don't like her quite as much, but she can like self-heal and proc a shield. For me, I found it a bit squishy, but she's great because you can throw, I think, a lot of just HP artifacts, which usually you don't normally want. Normally, the concept is you want, like, crit rate, HP, of course, because you can only have that for the head. You want almost always speed boots, except in certain cases where you have to do something called speed tuning, which I guess I'll get into later, which is basically just sometimes you want your Harmony person to have a slightly lesser speed number than whoever your main DPS is so that they can take another turn. WuWa is a great healer. We only really have 2 or 3 healers right now, so that's always good to have it, and she also can let you perform more than once because she has a recharge mechanism for your skill. I feel sad that these boys are back down here, but yeah, I guess it's because all they do is generally like hit a lot of characters at the same time, though I think our Genji can charge a skill more than 2 times, and Jingwon was the very first to come out, so I did get him, thinking he'd be a little more powerful later on, but I still really like him. And I think they say 1 mana. I don't know what that means exactly, but I think they just mean overall these are good characters, which I think I would be very happy about instead of him being Bronya is good and she advances forward. Harmony Trailball is just very great right now because buff and delay, and they can also do something called Super Break. Claire's good because she can attack them all, but she can also be a bit of a tank. He's SP friendly because he auto heals people when you're low, and he can heal, but he can also break and buff Acheron if you have Acheron Gallagher. And she's great because she's one of the few characters NG recharge, and as well, General Pila is good because she does ice nihility, so she can break defenses, and I don't think so far characters or like combatants don't have immunity to that. So I'm reaching up 5-minute mark, so I'm gonna just like short up. I would think she'd be higher because I find her to be very useful, and destruction at point in the beginning was very powerful, and I am so sad that Blade went down, but he's still good too if you build him, but he takes his own HP in return, so I can see why that's a downer. That's it, I guess, for now. Thank you for sitting with me. Bye. Let's say welcome.
When the snow melts away and the ice finally breaks, have you taken off? Are you already on your way? No matter where you are, I've come with you this far. I'm never really lost or past with trouble.